Today, we're going to jump into the Arlong Park arc. And if you didn't watch our video yesterday that we just posted of us watching the episode of Nami, revisiting this arc, but with the updated animation, go check that out in the description or in the link above. The way this video works is we will set up a selection of criteria of whatever character we think is deemed MVP. We're going to talk about our emotional response first, and then we're going to go down that list to deem who was truly the MVP of said arc. Before we talk about who our MVPs are, let's talk through some honorable mentions. So the first person I have on my honorable mention is Usopp. Not just because this was his first true showing of a member of the Straw Hats to take on a pretty notable guy that was probably 10 times his power level. He truly 1v1 Chew. So that in itself, I think, showed some really character growth, but obviously that doesn't necessarily point towards MVP. There's one moment in particular that I wanted to call out. And it's when they first arrived at Kokoyashi Village. And there were a bunch of innocent, I think there was a kid. It's when they first arrived and all the buildings were flipped upside down. And the fishman was about to kill this innocent civilian. And then there's Usopp overcoming his fears because his sense of saving overcame everything else in that moment. And he shot that egg right down at the fishman and had a whole bunch of them chase him across Arlong Park at the very beginning of the arc. And then the last thing I'll call out too is that he was smart enough to go along with Nami's plan when she stabbed her hand. If that was Luffy, if that was Sanji, maybe Zoro would probably understand it. But Zoro would probably be stubborn enough to fight back. Like, all three of them would not have realized.
Sanji would accept it, though, because he would have a different reason for going.
Yeah, he would have been like, oh, she stabbed me out of love.
My honorable mention, I don't remember his name. Who's the general who kind of looks like Freddie Mercury?
Gensan.
He's my honorable mention. I really like how he just like ran in, got all scarred up, probably the worst scars we've seen in the show so far. And then when Nami needed help again, he's like, well, we're all just gonna go die so that you can either go escape or we're just sick of it and we're not going to live like this anymore.
One thing that I'll also add on to your honorable mention is that if you recall, his pinwheel not only had a emotional effect on Nami, it's something that she kept with her, but it also was the trigger, the inspiration for Luffy's move against Arlong that turned the tides. And Gumu Gumu no pinwheel. So my third honorable mention is Sanji. One, I think right off the bat, what's notable about him is he doesn't know these people. Like, they picked him up at the restaurant and then immediately went to Arlong Park. And yet he was so emotionally moved by Nojiko's speech, finding out what was happening to Nami. He was so empowered by his brand new crewmates who he has knows nothing about, and yet went all out to save this village. So that makes an honorable mention. And then two is the scene under the water when Luffy is trapped by that boulder, and Sanji basically almost drowns as the fishman is fighting him under the water and still manages to break that boulder open and let Luffy free to let Luffy go and beat Arlong. So Sanji would be my third honorable mention. All right. So let's jump into the meat and the potatoes here. So, overall MVP, you can go first, Squirman.
So my MVP for this arc is Nami's mom, Belmere. I want to know who her squad mates were and why she was one of the only survivors, if not the only survivor, of the attack where she found Nami and her sister. Just like the one-up move, and that she just got like one good hit on, really satisfying hit on the villain. She then took them in. We find out that she didn't even want to live until she found those kids. So I'm curious about that. But then she just completely selflessly built an entire life for them. Even though they didn't really have anything, she tried to provide everything to them. She set up Nami's character arc for the entire series, where even in facing death, she sacrificed herself so that her daughters wouldn't have to live on the run, and showed them that you can be happy regardless of the circumstance, which gave Nami the strength to, save her village. The whole village might have been dead at that point. She's a really impactful character to me because she's such an extension beyond herself, while also being just a really cool, badass character.
So my overall MVP of the arc is pretty simply and easily Luffy. He never gave up on Nami. He was there for her from the beginning to the end. He followed her all the way to the village. He didn't even know what he was getting himself into. The most important moment of why he's my MVP is the moment where she's stabbing herself in the arm and he stops her with that hand. Just grabs it. And she looks up at him, tries to push him away. She goes, "You have no idea what's happening in my life right now." And he simply said, "I don't care. I don't know what's going on in your life, but I see that you're upset, and I'm going to fix whatever problem you're having because I love you, because you're my friend." And then he triggers her to the ultimate state of her emotional trauma. Fuck therapy. Luffy is her therapist. He pushes her to the brink. And she just cracks, and she looks up at him, and she says, "Luffy, help me." No one else. It's Luffy. She knows he's the only one that can help her right now. He gallantly picks up his crewmates and charges into the Arlong base, and we know how it goes from there. No one else, arguably, on that crew, including Zoro, who was pretty much out of it after his fight, because if you recall, he almost drowned, and there was a lot that went on with him. Luffy was the one who ultimately took down Arlong. And for that, for the whole arc, and for Nami's growth, Luffy is my MVP.
Does that mean Luffy's going to be your MVP for Alabasta and Skypia? Okay.
No,
just
definitely
checking.
not. So that was just our emotional feelings right off the bat. Let's now do categories. So, most clutch. I'd say Bellemere was clutch. When the fishmen showed up to her door, she just pleasantly said, "Come in," acting like nothing was happening, and then she knocked down that door and put the gun in Arlong's face. However, on the flip side, Luffy was the one to ultimately take out Arlong. So what do you think?
Who knows what would have happened to Nami if he wasn't there, right?
Right,
because that
exactly.
was just the first couple seconds.
So objectively, I think they both get a point there.
I can get on board with that.
All right, so category number 2, someone would have died or would have been seriously injured if not for your MVP pick. So Bellemere, I think, goes without saying, she probably gets 2 points towards this because she saved both Nami and Nojiko with her valiant effort. And then on the flip side, Luffy, he saved the whole village by beating Arlong, but I don't think he directly necessarily, if he didn't show up to that village, Nami would have just gone on and tried to get more treasure. So it wasn't a direct person per se, but he still saved everyone,
Sure.
But I don't know if that's a direct moment. I guess I'd give him a point, but I'd give Bellemere 2 for this.
Sure.
Is the moment emotional? Bellemere, I think, wins this one over Luffy.
Yeah, this is no contest.
I mean, I would still assign Luffy a point because, again, of the dagger,
Actually, yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to say no contest, actually, because that stacks up pretty well side by side. I think by virtue of Bellemere being their adopted mom, and she actually made the ultimate sacrifice, it hit a little harder, and she just stood there and took it.
Yeah, I mean, she died. Luffy didn't die,
Yeah.
So I give the point. I agree with you. I give the point to Bellemere.
They do there's an argument to be made.
All right, so did the scene set up a sequence of events in favor of the story or the crew?
Bellemere set up Nami's entire character arc, and that island might have not even existed without Nami having that motivation to protect it for a decade. So
you could argue the same thing back at Luffy, though.
Didn't he conclude the series of events?
I think he also inspired his crew collectively for the first time. By that scene where he showed it doesn't matter what your issues are or what your problems are, I will be there to help you fix them. If you're...
Was that the first time they all fought together? Him,
Yeah,
Sanji, Usopp,
exactly.
and Zoro?
So I think that scene was almost a catalyst for everyone, the first point of the series you could point to everyone believing in their captain. Yeah.
That was the first, like, serious, like...
Just inspired everyone. Sanji, brand new to the crew. Inspired Usopp, who's afraid of everything, to fight a fishman 1v1, you know? Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. I think I would give the point to Luffy. Okay, so the last category, did they take down the villain? So
momentarily.
Just in general. Versus Luffy taking him down permanently. So the point obviously goes to Luffy here. So with that said, let's rack up the category points to see who truly was the MVP of the Arlong arc. So first, most clutch moment. We gave that to Bellemere. She earned that. Second, someone would have died or seriously injured if not for a person. We gave it to both of them, but I would give the slight edge to Bellemere, so that's 2 for Bellemere, 0 for Luffy. Was the moment emotional? That's 3 for Bellemere. Set up sequence of events in favor of story crew, we gave that one to Luffy. And then, did they take down the villain, Luffy? So, with that said, you rack up the points. Our MVP... Bellemere-san.
I'm happy about this one. I don't know if you try to give me one of those, but I love it. No,
because
you can have Luffy another arc.
Because I think the teetering moment, right, the one that could have gone either way was the moment emotional. Because both of them were very emotional, but we gave the slight edge to Bellemere because she passed away.
Right.
Like, Luffy's still living.
Yeah, it's true, eh? Because, like, I even put the scream in the, that moment in the original video, because we felt it was the most impactful from the arc. But, yeah, goodbye, Bellemere.
And that's it. So that concludes our first MVP series. Drop a like or a comment if you agree, if you disagree, if you think there's someone we didn't think of, if you think there was a moment we didn't mention. Curious to hear your thoughts. Thank you for tuning in. We are Will of the Scry.